Good morning, beloveds. I'm not sure I'm entirely awake yet. Yesterday it rained all day and it was cold and wet. And so here we are. I think we're done with the rain today. And I think it's going to get out of the 40s today. It's supposed to get up into the 50s. And it could be almost in the 70s by the weekend. I know where I live. The weather is just weird. I also learned a little bit more about what happened in Colorado Springs. And while I don't like living in a world where people walk into places with guns and I don't enjoy that. What I am grateful is that I do live in a world where two people took a look at that situation and went, not on my watch, and rushed the gunman and stopped that. So, the world is what it is, and we have the power to change it. And I think, fortunately, that night, two people did. So, I look forward to the day when I can get on and not ever talk about that kind of thing again in my lifetime. So, that is what we treat about. That is what we work on. And yeah, there's a lot of groundwork to be done. And I understand that. There's mental health groundwork. There is acceptance groundwork. There is self-esteem groundwork. There is I think that the title of the book is the trance of scarcity groundwork, where we can work on the world so that everybody has enough. And nobody thinks they have to take it away from anybody else. So, that's the kind of work that we have to do. All right, but today is November 22nd, and our title is Creativity. And the first quote is, "Now there is a diversity of gifts, but the same Spirit." And that is 1 Corinthians 12:4. The second quote is, "The Spirit can do for us only what it can do through us. Unless we are able to provide the consciousness, it cannot make the gift." And that is Science of Mind, page 141. As a musical prodigy, Wolfgang Amadeus remains in a class by himself. There have been few composers who can compare with his genius. In his book, Mozart, His Character, His Work, Alfred Einstein wrote, "Mozart began as a child prodigy, presented to the world not merely as a virtuoso on the clavier and as a violinist, but also as an improviser and a precocious composer. All witnesses of Mozart at work agree that he put a composition down on paper as one writes a letter. While we contemplate Mozart's astonishing life, we need to remember that the spirit which vitalized that life is the same spirit which animates each of our lives." Ernest Holmes wrote, "The sooner we release our minds from the thought that we have to create, the sooner we will be able to work in line with spirit. Always people use, they never create." Okay. We can daily know that God is ready and eager to receive the impress of our creative thoughts, the thoughts of whatever we wish to manifest in our lives. And the divine supply is limitless. In order to demonstrate any condition we may desire, we must first have the consciousness that the condition of that condition. That is, we must begin to identify ourselves with it, regardless of what our present situation may be. We are dealing with the universal law, and unless we provide a receptive mental atmosphere, the spirit cannot offer the gift we seek. In Mozart's case, the gift was music, and his creative life was lived in an awareness of what he had been given. We can be aware that there is one creative power. We can think thoughts to establish the consciousness that allows the spirit to create through us. I know that God's creative spirit is always ready to work through me. I choose my thoughts with care, remembering it is done unto me as I believe. Thank you, God, for your gifts. And that is J.A. Jean Anderson. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that Holmes quote. The sooner we release our minds from the thought that we have to create, the sooner we shall be able to work in line with spirit. Here's where I'm going to go back to a Spaceballs quote. Yes, Spaceballs the movie. There's this one point when I don't even remember the character's name. He's the Darth Vader character, where he says, "You're always preparing, just go." Okay. Now, it doesn't work out so great for him, but that's the point. I think that's the point that Ernest Holmes is making, because we're constantly thinking about creating rather than creating. We are constantly preparing, but not ever actually going. And so what I think Jean Anderson is trying to point out is that we're constantly thinking about creating without ever actually doing it. And so what we want to do is to think, and Reverend Jesse uses this example a lot when he's talking about, businesses. It's like, don't think about preparing. Don't think about all the things that you have to do to get there. Think about 5 years into the future. Think about the business as successful. And I believe that that's what Jean Anderson is saying about, in this case, art. It's like, don't think about preparing to do the art. Don't think about the end result. Align yourself with the creative spirit and then allow that spirit to flow through you. If we are always preparing, we are never going to go. So, and it sounds simple, and yet it sounds simple and easy, and yet it's mind-blowing. It's like, wait, what? I'm always preparing, but I'm never going. It's like, how many times can you pack your suitcase? But if you never put your suitcase in the car, you're never going to go anywhere. Or how many times can I pack my suitcase, but if I don't buy the ticket? You got to align yourself with spirit, with that creativity. Because one of the first quotes is, the spirit can only do for us what it can do through us. So the point of spiritual practice is to align ourselves with spirit, to be open to spirit. Like that, all of those creative ideas are always flowing. And it's like, if we're so busy preparing for the ideas, that we never get the idea. So sometimes you just got to pick up the brush and start painting and stop worrying about what the end is going to look like and just get into the process of doing it. Or visualize the end and then start cutting. I've never worked in felt before, and I've never worked in felt again, but it was a project that I did where I woke up with the whole project, exactly what I wanted it to look like in my head. And there it was. It's like, and I think I already had the materials. It was just like I was freaking myself out about it. And so I sat down. You are going to fall off this couch. I sat down and started cutting, and it turned out to look exactly like, it's like we spend all this time preparing and no actual time doing. And so and then that goes back to, what Goswami says. It's like, you're human beings, not human doings. And so sometimes we want to be, and sometimes we want to do, and sometimes by being we do, which is just now logic that doesn't make sense. So you're always preparing. Just go. It's like, you have done all the prep work. You have done all of the at what point does it become overthinking? So what are you trying to do? You're going to fall off. All right. I think we can daily know that God is ready and eager to receive the impression of our creative thoughts, the thoughts of whatever we wish to manifest in our life, and the divine supply is limitless. In order to demonstrate any condition we may desire, we must first have the consciousness of that condition. And that's where I was talking about, where Jesse was talking about when you want to create a business, don't just think about all that you have to do to get the business going. Think about the business 5 years in the future. Or if you're creating an art project, don't think about all the steps you have to do. Think about the finished project. And that's how you get into that mindset where that creativity can flow. But at some point, you got to take the first step. You got to make that first brush stroke. You got to write down that first note, whatever medium you're working in. You got to take that first step. So stop preparing. Just go. All right. I don't know if I've done her justice, but I think that I've said what I need to say. Cause she lined it out pretty good right there. So if I were going to give you a mission today, that's exactly it. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is stop preparing. Just go. You have done all of the prep work. It's time to go. And that's the mission today. And it's not the usual consciousness mission. It's like you've been doing the prep work this whole time. It's time to go. All right. So that's, there we are. And what was I going to say after that? I don't remember. So, what I'm going to move into is the spiritual practice, because spiritual practice is exactly what it sounds like. We practice it every day. I encourage people to have multiple spiritual practices. And one of the ones that I do suggest is the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. And sometimes it's literally that first brushstroke, or it's literally that first step. And sometimes it's a deep breath, and sometimes it's a nap, and sometimes it's eating dessert, drinking a cup of coffee. And sometimes it's putting the brush down, cause sometimes we're done, it's like you've put all of the brush strokes onto the canvas that you want. And sometimes, one more is not going to make it any better. Put the brush down. So that's loving, kind, and compassionate. And sometimes it's getting started, and sometimes it's ending. But it is about self-care and joy. And I want to make that clear. Love, kindness, compassion. It's about self-care. It's about taking care of yourself. If you want to be creative, you do want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And if you want to enjoy life, well, that's one of the reasons why we're here. Life is meant to be enjoyed, no matter what is going on in the world. I do want to make sure that we make time for joy. And practicing love, kindness, and compassion on ourselves is a good way to do that. I do say to practice on yourself because you are your best test subject. I do say because you deserve your own love, your own kindness, your own compassion. And you can't pour from an empty cup. So when you take care of yourself, you set the world up to be better for everybody, because you have created a first response, a default setting. You have created a habit where no matter what happens, you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. When you meet people who need a little extra, and we all know them, sometimes it's us, we can respond with love, with kindness, with compassion, because we're plugged into the infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion, because we practice every single day. All right, so there is that. I also encourage you, as I always do, to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. I do encourage you to also get early in your day bright light. If you get up before the sun, then, you use artificial bright light. Or if, like we've had for the last 4 days where it's been just cloudy, I don't know if we're going to see the sun today. Honestly, I don't know. Then, artificial light still works. It's getting that bright light, resetting those hormones. It's science. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. Okay. And then I quote Ernest Holmes a lot, but well, I'm a Science of Mind minister. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Which is to open the windows of our soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind us we do live in heaven right here, right now. Sometimes that breath of heaven looks like creativity. Oftentimes it looks like creativity. And creativity can be turned to anything. And that's the beauty of creativity. It can be used for art, and it can be used for, well, everything in life can become art. So there's that. All right. I usually say something about heaven being a state of mind, a state of consciousness, about it being a superpower. When we learn to create it for ourselves, heaven can be any place. And then I remind you that we can always take Emma's advice, look for the good and praise it. That is one of the fastest ways to get to heaven, is to look around and see all of the good that is in our lives. The closer we get to Thanksgiving, because, it's Tuesday and Thanksgiving is Thursday, gratitude is one of the most amazing spiritual practices because it is about looking for the good. It is about praising the good. You want to change your attitude the fastest? Look for things to be grateful for. So, all right. Yes, and I'm grateful for you. And you are just out of frame, aren't you? There you are. There you are. Yep. That's my foster. I'm always grateful for him. All right. Until I'm not, because he's driving me crazy, because he loves me so much. Don't you, baby? All right. Here's where I will do the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel if you're looking for things to be grateful for, and go to the Soul Sessions list, playlist, because that is a great place to meet interesting people. I also, if you want to know what's going on with the center, including where our Thanksgiving service is going to be, the Thanksgiving Eve service used to be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but COVID happened. And so what we're going to try this year is we're actually going to do it after the Sunday service, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And you can also participate by Zoom. So email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. The hot links are hot. So if you want to know about the Thanksgiving Eve service, it'll be in there. All right. Ooh. I owe Jesse an email. All right. So I'm now at the part where I encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanting day, a wonder-filled day, a don't stress yourself out about Thanksgiving day, a last-minute run to the grocery store day, because you have 2 more of those too, a you got it day, you got it, whatever it is that you've got it day, a wonder must day. I'm making up words just because I can. Because, hey, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a godling, a divine spark, a beloved child of God, a bright light, a wonderfully creative spirit, in whom God is well pleased and well represented always. All right? It's a state of grace. So, practice. Okay. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you at 9 a.m.-ish tomorrow. And have a great day. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. I will see you next time.